All right.
Oh, you want to start?
How do I look?
You look great.
I'm wearing pink.
Welcome.
Go!
Welcome to our homecast, which we're not at home
We're
today.
not at home.
We are, but welcome to our podcast.
We are in Calgary. Katie is visiting me
Yes,
at work.
at work, and Kurt's up here working like a madman.
How about,
I mean, in a good way. I mean that.
don't say madman, because then they'll just think I'm being like psychotic.
No, he's not being psychotic. He's a bit tired. He's weary. How's that? Is that okay?
I'm weary. I'm so weary. It's all good. It's fantastic.
Yes, it's all good. But that's right. We're not at home.
We're not at
and
home.
welcome to Slice of Pie. This is the episode where we answer fan questions.
Apparently you did one of these by yourself. Nobody told me.
Yeah, apparently it did really well, too.
I know. That's what I'm worried about.
That's when I talked to Robbie
Yeah,
at Chaudhry.
it
You
got-
would have loved that conversation.
Well, I'm just saying, like, are you like breaking
no,
up?
I'm not breaking
Are you going pie solo? Are you solo pie?
Am I just a piece of pie?
Are you just,
No.
I may have to do one on my own too. I may have to do a solo pie.
We've been discussing this because we are in
Right.
different countries a lot
Right,
lately,
right.
and we will be for the next couple months.
Right.
So, yes.
I'm just gonna do a solo pie with me. I'm gonna interview me. I'm gonna get to the root of everything that's wrong and all the trauma and why I do what I do and what do I think my lore is, and I'm just gonna
Really?
ask
You're
myself.
just gonna talk about you?
Yeah, and you know what?
What?
I'm gonna put myself to sleep.
Well, I could interview you. You know, that is one thing we could do sometime, Katie, is I could interview you and then you could interview me?
Oh yeah.
Wow.
Yeah, but you know, well, you don't know everything.
About you?
Yeah.
I don't?
I mean, in my past,
Oh,
you don't know everything.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Oh, I'm curious.
I had that whole, little.
Excuse me? He had a little...
I almost said something that would have had to be erased, but I didn't say it because I am a woke, self-aware man of the. What year is this?
He's very weary, so
Very tired.
we don't know what's going to come out
What
of
are we
his mouth.
doing?
Let's answer a question.
So the first one's from Ken, and he says, "My hope is that Katie will touch on her experiences from 8 Simple Rules. Nothing specific, just would love to hear her memories. I loved that show. I think John Ritter is the greatest physical comedian to ever appear on screen. The entire cast of the show is perfect. Finally, I'm a fan of both of your work, Katie and Kurt. Thank you for this podcast."
Thank you, Ken.
Well, thank you, Ken. I agree with you about John Ritter, and I would also say one of the kindest human beings I've ever met. Pee in your pants funny on and off camera. 8 Simple Rules was a mixed bag. That's what I'll say. It was joyous and wonderful and heartbreaking, and we all lived it. We all were there with him that day, and I'll say this: we were happy that that the show continued as long as it could in real time, and discussed the loss of a patriarch and a family, and so we were glad that decision was made by the network. It was heartbreak. It was a wonderful, wonderful job. It was a wonderful, wonderful job with the most amazing person. And
Patrick, can you hand me
I
my
still
phone?
I think he's around all the time.
Phone.
I think about him all the time.
I was going to read that. Remember that thing I wrote?
For
about-
John?
Yeah.
Oh, yes. Oh, you did. Did you say it at the...
Yeah, I said it on set. I don't know. Let me just see really quickly if I
He's
have it.
looking for... John affected both of us.
Oh, I love John so much.
He had such a huge heart and spirit, and
I remember that night so
Yep.
so fucking clearly.
oh, did you save it? Hold on, Ken. We're actually not... I guess, are you... Yes, hold on, Ken. Is Ken live? Is he right there?
Yeah, I'm right. I have it.
No, he
Oh.
sent it in as an email.
Should I read it?
Sure, this
Yeah,
is what
read
Kurt
it.
wrote.
This is... Wow, I haven't read this in 20 years. This is 10/12/2003. This probably will make both of us cry. John Ritter didn't die. Dying isn't funny. John flared out. I haven't known John long, couple of years. I feel cheated. I want more. I'm not alone. John was the kind of guy who experienced life at full volume, always on, always engaged, always genuinely interested in who you were and what you were doing. He had a tremendous capacity for love. He had a gift for making you feel special. It's as if on some innate primal level, John knew he had 90 years of love and laughs to cram into 55. He was the guy that always took the joke one step further, who always went out of his way to let you know how important you were. John was a mercurial soul. He needed to be. He had a lot of things to do, a lot of people to touch. He didn't want you to settle in and spend too much time on him. He'd rather talk about you. Or the truth is, he'd rather make you laugh. And he did. Constantly. No, I mean constantly. Spit takes, fart jokes, pratfalls, puns, political satire. His arsenal was deep and vast. It's as if John Ritter remembered every joke he ever heard from the time he was 4 and had it at his disposal. No matter who you were, whatever your age, sex, race, he had something in his quiver for you. No one was safe from John's full-throttle humor. The blessing is that there are almost as many John Ritter anecdotes as there were John Ritter jokes. Everyone he made laugh has a story, and those stories will be rerunning in our primetime hearts forever. He went fast, he went happy, his departure divinely timed between music legends Warren Zevon and Johnny Cash, so as not to call too much attention to himself. I can hear John now. Yeah, I went, but Johnny Cash, that was a genius. The pat eulogy phrase, he touched the lives of everyone he knew, rarely is true, but there's never been a truer statement of a man. All our lives have changed. Today we will laugh a little less. He warmed us, enriched our lives, and man, did he burn bright. John's not gone. He's recharging somewhere on an unseen plane, loading the quiver with afterlife jokes and sight gags. I know this is the last thing you want to hear, but we miss you, John.
Oh, honey.
Wow.
Wow. Yeah, that was beautiful.
Thank you.
I haven't heard it in a long time.
A long time. Wow. Thanks, Ken.
Yeah, thanks, Ken.
Thanks for bringing us all down, Ken.
No, he brings us up.
Yeah.
John
Yeah,
brings
John.
us. That was a beautiful tribute.
Yeah.
It really was.
Yeah.
Yeah. That was
Okay.
good. And I swear I didn't have that prepared.
No, we didn't. I did not.
No.
I did not give them the questions ahead of time, so this is not prepared.
It did make me cry. Okay.
Okay,
Next
so this is
question.
from Elise, who is actually live in the audience right now. She said, I would love to know from both Katie and Kurt who is someone that has influenced them, each individually, to be the person they are today.
To be the person I am today, who's influenced me.
I guess that could be family, artistically, emotionally.
family, yeah. Well, I'm not going to go artistically. I'm going to say humanly. I had a friend. His name was Johnny. And Johnny was my friend since high school. And Johnny, as most people know, I'm in recovery. And Johnny, for a long time, was my sponsor in recovery. And he taught me spiritual lessons. He taught me emotional lessons. He taught me how to behave correctly. He taught me. He showed me how to stay sober. He influenced. Oh my goodness, this is becoming a very sad podcast. I'm going to cry now because he's dead too. Jeez whiz. So anyway, I'm going to say my sweet Johnny Siegel, who was actually the godparents of my older kids, and he has passed on, and he set a high bar, and I loved him very much. That's enough with me.
Yeah, I don't know. I don't really. I mean, I have so many creative people, but I don't.
Come on, I know it's me.
Well, yeah, absolutely. I mean, you've obviously, but I don't. There's, here's the truth. I. I was so disconnected, I think, from the moment for so many years that I'm probably a lot of the people and things and places and circumstances that influenced me were probably on some sort of subconscious level that I don't quite recall. But and it wasn't really until I was older that I was able to sort of appreciate and hear what other people had to say. And and here's the most important thing: it wasn't until God, this is so sad.
Oh man, I
It
know.
really wasn't until I was probably, fuck, man, in my mid 30s that I trusted anyone enough
Hmm.
to to allow them to influence me.
Wow,
That's pretty.
that's deep.
That's deep.
That's deep.
Okay. Thanks for another great question.
Somebody influenced him. This is one thing I will say something work wise.
Yeah.
My husband has a great work ethic. He knows how to work hard, and he knows how to keep himself there. And I don't know where he learned that from, but it's a very admirable quality that you must have mimicked from somebody.
Well, you know what? I guess here's a throw to the old fam. I'm sure I saw my dad do it every day.
Oh, that's true.
You know,
Right.
he got and I knew he was not necessarily living his best life, but he got up every fucking day
Right.
and went to a job he probably didn't really like. You know?
Is that what you're doing?
No, but you know what I mean. No, I didn't mean that.
No, I know.
But you know what I mean. I mean, we're blessed that we get
We get to do what we like.
as insane as it is, and as much as I want to run into traffic on any given day, I know how lucky I am.
Yeah.
Okay,
Okay, let's go
next
somewhere else.
next question.
Okay. I have a lighter question. This question is from Kate
Yeah,
via
that's what you
email.
say now. Wait till we get a hold of it.
Yeah.
Oh, I know, right? Well, we'll see. Love your podcast. Kurt, I know that you put out an amazing documentary piece on American outlaws several years ago. And I wonder if you have any thoughts on doing another documentary series and what would be your top interest?
Um, Thank you. That was yeah. We That's another blip on the screen.
Oh,
Barely.
that was cool.
No, but I just remember we were doing that in the in between. Oh man, that was another one we jammed in there. No, it was fun. It was fun. Look, it's all I watch pretty much on television is nonfiction, whether it's you know home improvement shows or documentaries.
Tell them your favorite show.
Or Antique Roadshow is my favorite
His
show.
favorite show.
My favorite show.
Yes. It's his lunch hour show.
It's my lunch hour. And but here's what I've learned is that for a while there I would be even with there'd be games I'd be playing. I mean, I'd be like, oh, I love this title. I should get the right to blah blah blah. And then I realized that there are some things I'm just supposed to enjoy as a viewer and as a participant, and that should have nothing to do with my career. So I really don't have any pull to do anything in that area.
What about the Bob?
Yeah, but that's not what I mean.
No, yeah, right.
Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
That's tapping into
We're being big.
what I can be, how I can be of use of service to somebody. But in terms of like what like is there something else I feel like I have to document or say? Not really.
What do you think we're doing here?
Yeah,
We're
this is about as ambitious as I get. Did that answer the question?
yeah, that's what it is.
All right.
I think it did. I think it did.
All right.
This one's from Katie, or for Katie from Elaine via email. I read an interview you gave where you mentioned you created a music soundtrack for each project you did and that you did a different one for each season of SOA. I love that. I'm an author and do the same thing with every novel. My process seems organic, but sometimes I have trouble finding music that works. How do you go about this when creating music lists for yourself?
Well, it's an emotional tone, depending. It's not based on. I mean, if you heard the playlist.
L
Oh,
is for
he's
the
gonna
way.
sing our song. If it the playlist for Gemma Teller was nothing like you might think it would be, in terms of storyline. And actually, truth be told, Peg Bundy did not have a soundtrack.
She was a soundtrack.
She was a soundtrack, exactly. But no, I do that, and I think it's really how music has always affected me, which is will have a visceral emotional response, and sometimes I don't know if it's if it's Tom Waits, if it's Joni Mitchell, and it will just inform whatever emotional place I'm trying to get to. Is basically it. It has nothing to do with
Dexy's Midnight
story.
Runners.
Dexy's who?
Dexy's Midnight Runners.
I don't know that. Are you gonna sing a song?
I pulled the most obscure band out of my memory that I could.
You were singing a song the other night and I couldn't get it out of my head. What was it again? Now it's out of my head.
Oh, the really sexist song.
Yeah. It was so sexist.
I was a carpenter.
Oh, I was a carpenter. If I was a carpenter,
And
yes.
you were a lady. Would you marry?
Would you marry me anyway? Would you?
Would you have my baby?
Anyway, we digressed. But that is the answer
If
to
a tinker were my trade, would you still find me
Go ahead.
carrying
sweetie.
my pots and pans, trailing right behind me?
Yeah, there you go.
There we go.
Funny soundtrack memory from Sons of Anarchy when Jax killed Gemma. Charlie Hunnam listened to "Make It Rain" on repeat by Ed Sheeran to prepare for that scene.
I didn't know that.
Yeah,
a good
Charlie told me
choice.
that. Yeah, he told me that before one of the Anarchy Afterward episodes. So
Such a beautiful song,
Such a great
It
song.
was,
And the
yeah.
original of it too is
written by Foy Vance.
Foy Vance.
Who's
Yeah,
an
Foy Vance,
amazing
yep.
so good.
and a hero of Ed's as well. Ed Sheeran. Foy is such a great artist.
Okay, well, this one is for Kurt. I recently began watching Sons again, and each time I watch, I wonder how the story could have evolved if Hale did not die. I don't want to use the word regret, but do you think about how the story could have changed if Hale survived? The relationship him and Jax had, I believe there was a friendship within that good guy, bad guy understanding. And I often think of that, of Jax's final ride with Hale involved in the pursuit. Just so you know, this question's asked a million times.
Oh yeah, it's Taylor Sheridan's character.
Oh,
And
interesting.
I think the premise was like they knew each other growing up, and
Right.
and like one went that way, one went the other way, and I don't know what way it would have gone. Here's what I will say, and I don't say this, lightly. I truly believe these things, that the reasons for Taylor leaving the show were all they were all business affairs issues, is the truth. It had nothing to do with personalities, is what I will say. But I also believe that clearly, he was pulled in a direction that he ultimately went into and went for, and is an amazing writer, and
That was where he was
essentially
supposed to be.
owns TV now,
Yeah.
right? So clearly he made the right choice and is a brilliant writer. And for me, having to shift the story and lean on Unser, in the process of doing that, a light bulb just went off in that creative process. And I realized, with a guy like Dayton Kelly, I had an actor in which I could spin the entire mythology of the show. Unser became, to me, not the most important character in terms of story, but the most important character in terms of mythology glue. Like, that character was the one intersection for all the mythology of the show, and it ran through Wayne Unser. And I was blessed to have an actor like Dayton, who I could throw anything at and would make it magical. So clearly that's what was supposed to happen. I hired Dayton because I loved Deadwood. I loved him so much. I didn't know what that character was when I hired him. Wayne Unser was the mayor. It was sort of like this very two-dimensional character, but ultimately having to spin some of the law enforcement stuff onto him, it really became clear as to what the function of that character was and the actor that I had to portray it. And I think it's been a win-win across
For
the board
everybody.
in that
Absolutely.
world. So that's
Yes.
what I would say.
Good question and answer. This one is from our live chat. It's from Lowcat, Myra. She wants to know,
Myra.
Katie, are you are you doing do you still do singing tours? And would you ever come to Indianapolis to perform? I guess Indiana, excuse me.
We just talked about that.
About what?
You just talked about how you were missing
I
singing.
am missing it. You know, it's interesting. I have not been playing any live gigs lately, and probably the main reason for that is because the guys in my band all actually make a living making music, and they're gone a lot, so it's hard to get everybody in one place.
Well, they were all played with. I think in the pandemic when nobody was playing,
Right.
Then when it kicked off again,
Everybody
all the
was
people
on
they
the
played
road.
with,
Yeah.
they were all, they're all gigging with other people.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
So that's kind of the answer to that question. I do miss doing that, and I would like to say that that's going to happen again, but I don't have any practical reason to say that. So thanks, though, for asking. I do love to sing. I do.
You'll do it again.
I'll do it again. I just bought a guitar. I'm taking it, I'm traveling with me. I'm not a very good guitar player, but I do like to play it.
Yeah.
What's the guitar you just got from Howie's guy?
Oh yeah, we just got we had an
yeah.
electric ukulele.
It's a solid body electric uke. We
Right.
haven't fired it up
Nope.
yet, but it looks really cool.
But the guy that was playing it and who made it
Yeah.
when we did Howie's podcast was unreal.
What
He
was
played
his name again?
yeah, I can't remember his name, but he's
Something
amazing.
in the Black Pack.
And it's his company that made that ukulele, and he played it like an electric guitar. I mean,
it
it
was
was
unbelievable.
It was really great.
Yeah, he's.
And he gave us one.
I know he's such a great voice, super great musician, super soulful.
And Howie said he found them on TikTok.
Right. Yeah.
That's where he found them.
Sunny in the Black Pack.
Sunny in the
Sunny
Black
in
Pack.
the Black Pack.
Check them out. They're
Yep.
pretty fucking
Great.
amazing. Yeah.
Okay, so this one is our last email question. It's from Pat. And The Shield, I believe, is the greatest TV show of all time. Have you ever had any talks with Sean Ryan about doing something in the present to see where Vic is at? One more thing, Kurt, you were the first person to ever follow me on Twitter many years ago. And when that happened, it truly made my day.
Really?
Who was it?
I don't know. I follow a lot of people on Twitter.
There is
when
no
I,
Twitter.
when I had Twitter, as soon as he came on board, I fucking got rid of the whatever it is now. And not that I have opinion about him.
The Shield.
The Shield. Yeah, The Shield was. I concur. Was an amazing show. I don't think. I mean,
Where would Vic be?
I think when Sean and I and a couple of the writers, I think Glenn was there, Skeeter, we did like the ATX festival. I don't know how long ago was that, like 5-6 years ago.
Oh, way longer.
Really? Was it like
over
10?
10.
Really? Holy shit, I'm old. Anyhow, we did the. Yeah, you're right. It's been a long time. And then, but we've talked about like, is there a movie? Is there a thing? But, at this stage, I don't think you go in and look at Vic. I would rather, and much to the chagrin of Chickless, who wouldn't be able to play the role, but I'd rather do like Mackie in
The pre-story.
yeah, like what was that guy like? At the academy,
Right.
In a time and
What
place.
turned him?
Yeah, what happened, and because it's such it's so difficult even to do a straight up police drama or police oriented type of show these days, because there's such a mixed point of view about about all things law enforcement. And so I just, as of right now, I don't see anything like that making sense. But you know what, that's really a question for the fabulous Mr. Sean Ryan.
Yeah, and I just wanted to pipe in that I thought the ending, that last episode, and what ended up happening with Big Mackie, it was amazing.
Yeah.
And so I don't know how you. I think sometimes it's best to leave the cake alone.
Yeah. Or the pie.
Or the pie. Sorry. Right.
Come on,
I
man.
should have
Stay
used
on-
that.
stay on brand,
Stay on
baby.
brand. Or the pie alone. It's cooked.
Hey, do we have merchandise, Katie?
We do. I'm wearing
Yay!
Oh, I
Yay!
love that. Yay. Where can people get that?
And we have shirts,
Your
sweatshirts too, right?
Yep, we'll leave a link in
Okay.
below.
Oh,
It's
nice.
your Shopify. It's myshopify.piepodcast.com. There's a lot of cool ones.
Do we have one with Theo's line? Just let me
We do.
finish
Just
my
let me
pie.
finish my pie. And I'm sending the I Got This pie that's going up to Canada that you can give to Mr. Ryan Hurst if you'd like.
Oh, cool.
So he can model that pie t-shirt. We also have these are great. These
Those
pie
are great.
t-shirts are great.
I love that.
And they're
Yeah.
super soft and super comfortable. So I've worn it every day.
Oh, boy.
Smells pretty
Katie,
good
I was
though.
going to say.
Smells like pie.
Smells like pie.
Oh, boy.
All right. Well, I have some voicemails. I'm going to play them for you.
Yes, I was wondering when you were going to have Charlie Hunnam on your podcast.
Katie.
Thank you. We've been, here's what I'll say. Charlie lives, maybe a mile away from us?
Maybe.
Maybe a mile away from us.
He wants to do it.
He wants to do it. Charlie's very busy. He is actually very busy. And Charlie is, here's the deal. Charlie's a very private person, and I know he would come on and do it because he loves us. It's finding those moments when you can kind of catch him off guard and get him to commit is really what it comes down to. But
Maybe we can bribe him with something.
he's
like a meal.
I think he's out of the country. He hasn't been
Oh, I
around.
don't know. Katie would. Katie is.
He's in Portland. He's in Portland shooting his new Amazon series.
Oh, there
But
you go.
Morgana makes this really great strawberry pie cake thing. So maybe we can make her make it, and he can come by and do a slice of pie episode.
Oh,
She can
there
help
you
us.
go.
She
There
can
you
help
go.
us.
She'll get it. Okay,
All
great.
right, that's perfect.
Well, I just saw him in the last 2 months, and he
At a con?
swore up and down he was coming to.
Yeah.
To do
Well,
pie.
when he heard Theo and Kim did it,
Yeah.
he got he's like, oh,
All right.
yeah, I'm just saying, not that they're competitive.
All right, let me do the next one.
Hey guys, my name is TJ. I'm from Miami, Florida. Love you both. Been following your careers for years. You guys are both amazing. Kurt, creatively, you're just a genius. Katie, your performances always blow me away. My question is for Kurt. I want to know, on Sons of Anarchy, who was the hardest character to kill off? Was there a character that you struggled with, that you went back and forth, that you didn't want to kill off because either you loved what the actor brought to the show, you loved working with the actor, or you liked how their character played off, Jax or other characters? Just was there any character that you struggled to kill off, or just creatively in the process, when it came to you, it had to happen and maybe you didn't struggle with it at all? Okay. I was curious about that. Thank you guys. Loving the podcast so far. Take care.
Thanks, TJ.
Thank you, TJ. Yeah, that's a great question. It's hard because I killed so many people.
I have an instinct about it.
Here's what I'm going to say. I mean, look, they were all difficult in their own way. Some of it in terms of storytelling, some of it in terms of personal relationships. But I think overall, the hardest one for me, and just the way it unraveled, and emotionally, story-wise, personally, was Tara. That was the hardest one for me.
Oh, that's not what I was going to say.
Yeah. I think just because I adore Maggie, and I just like it. She was, in a lot of ways,
Innocent.
she was the she was keeping him tethered, and and I knew it was coming. I at that point I understood really pretty much how it was all going to where it was going to lead. But as difficult as Opie was, there was an honor in the way that Opie went, and with Tara, it was just straight up fear and brutality, and it was the life catching up with innocent people, and I think that one fucked me up the most.
Yeah, that was.
I mean, you were difficult, but it was done. We were done.
No,
by then,
we were. Yeah,
you
that
know?
was. Yeah, Tara really was the victim.
So who were you? Who were you going to?
I was going to say Opie.
Well, yeah.
I was going to say Opie because of the relationship he had with Jax.
Right.
And I remember at the time, you were a bit struggly with it.
Well, I think people know this, that Opie was supposed to die at the end of season 1, and that relationship became so potent that we decided to have the victim be Donna, and much dismay, but. What ultimately for me, what ended up happening with Opie in terms of story was that so much had gone down in terms of losing people in his life that there was no way I could keep him at that table with him knowing what he knew and keeping him there with Clay, and then I didn't, I thought, well, maybe he goes nomad, but then I knew that that's not what this show was, that what we didn't really have, sort of storylines that were taking place in other parts, and there was really, it ultimately came down to finding, the most powerful way to end that relationship, and that for me in that episode, in that story, it was that was the first crack in Jax. That was the crack that began to spread and ultimately lead to his inevitability.
Yeah.
So
I will say this. I remember when we got the script, the finale for season 6, I don't think a lot of the writers knew Roosevelt was going to die, and we were all shocked.
oh, that's right.
I think maybe Chris Collins knew, and that was it. We were like, what? So
That's right.
a lot of us were shocked.
Yeah.
All right, here's the next one from Leela.
Hi, my name is Leela. Thank you so much for doing Pi. I enjoy listening to you guys in the interviews. It's awesome. So honestly, I'm a big fan. If I saw you guys in public, I would love to come up and say hello, but honestly, I wouldn't have the balls to do it because I'm, kind of like, I don't want to be the annoying person. Who cares who I am, And don't worry, I live in Utah. I'm never going to come up to you guys. But I was just wondering with that, how do you guys really feel about fans coming up to you when you're out and about? And what do you wish they didn't do? Because I just assumed people would come up yelling character names instead of like Katie or Kurt. I don't know. But I just want to know how celebrities really feel when their fans come up to them. Thanks.
First, I would say you don't need to throw yourself under the bus. That's what I would say. And we're flattered that people get what they get out of what we do. So, and you do matter. That's what I'll say. But I think for me, the only thing that really bothers me is really if I'm eating. And, I have a mouthful of food or something, and then most times people are very polite, and which is fine. I I've gone in and out of doing the selfie thing. Sometimes I would rather just say hello than take a picture with you. But yeah, if I'm about to take a bite of my food and I'm really hungry, and then you're standing there wanting to talk to me, that's not the best time for me.
I get asked to leave when I do that. So.
Yes, I do like to eat. What about you, honey?
I don't know. Am I really, do I count as a celebrity?
Yes.
Um,
People come up. Yes.
you know, I think no. I'm always grateful that people appreciate what it is I do, and like I said, as a storyteller, I don't do this to read it to myself at night. I do this, you know, I'm a storyteller because
You need people.
I need people to, I need tribe to read my scribe. So
That's good.
I don't think, I think sometimes, sometimes the having to take a picture bugs me, and that's my stuff because I hate the way I look most of the time. So, you know, and I know and there's a possibility it'll be on social media, and so I'm not. Sometimes I'll be like, hey man, let me just shake your hand or ask you, you know, and say hello. I'd much rather do that than have it than do that, unless it's a kid. And then if it's a kid and then somebody, I'll usually do a photo. But for the most part, I would much rather say hello to you, you know, and have a brief chat than do pictures. And that's really my shit and not theirs. But that's kind of my.
But I will say, if you have a kid and you come up to talk to me, that's an easy way in. I love it when people have their kids.
What if it's not their kid?
Well, if they just grab a kid, they don't have to tell me it's not their kid. They could just pretend. You know, it's sort of like, what is that thing when a
kidnapping?
A dad flies on a plane with his kid. What do they call that? You know, so that there's a flirting component.
Oh,
about,
like bait,
like bait,
chick
right?
bait?
Yeah, like chick bait. Yeah, like
using your.
Or
kid
I don't know
as,
if we're supposed to say the word that way. Yeah, using your like you're a dad traveling with your child is very attractive to women.
Could also be. Never mind.
Oh gosh, he was going somewhere. I don't even want to know where he was going. Okay, next question.
All right, let's play Steve's question.
Greetings from Texas. Hope you all are doing well. I have like 5 or 6 streaming services, and my wife and I get maybe an hour of TV time after our kids go down. And we just spend so much time scrolling through the different services to try and find something, and we end up really just watching a show that we have seen before. It could be South Park. I'm on my 5th rewatch of Sam Crow, I think. My question to Kurt, you know, how do you stand out as a creator in a field that has so much out there already?
I thought you were going to ask
That's my
me
brother, by the way.
Oh, is it?
Is
I
it?
was-
Yeah, I just
I was-
realized. Yeah, it's my little brother.
Hi, Steve.
Hi, Steve. I thought you were going to ask what, you know,
What you watch.
what shows we watch over and over again. And for me, it's either, you know, it's either like Family Guy or, you know, This Old House or something like that. But I do the same thing. I have every
yeah,
streaming
100%.
service, and I will spend 20 minutes, 30 minutes figuring out what I should maybe want to watch, and then sometimes I'll watch new shit, but a lot of times it'll be, you know, it's so funny. It'll be, you know, it'll be the same old. And I don't know, some of it I think is growing up. This is my theory.
Okay.
Growing up with network TV and independent broadcast companies, like in New York, we had Channel 5 and Channel 11 that would have reruns all the time. And I remember growing up and watching the same episodes of The Honeymooners and The Odd Couple and Lucy, like over and over and over again. And it didn't matter because it made you laugh or whatever. And I just think some of it is that's like I grew up in that, the comfortability of that. Does that make sense?
So reruns or
Yeah, like so there's
you
there's
like
there's a
reruns.
comfort for me sometimes, especially at night, to be watching something I've seen before.
Interesting.
And I don't and I know growing up it was a lack of, that's all we had was
Right.
the same thing. They made one season, 11 episodes or 10 episodes of The Honeymooners, and I must have seen them all like 600 times.
But I think to answer his question is, which is to what makes you stand out.
Oh yeah, I didn't answer his
I would
question.
say, for me personally as a viewer, and what I think Kurt does well is, it's the depth of character, it's the relationship between the characters. I mean, the stories for me are compelling depending where they're set, but I'll hook on to a particular relationship that I'm watching. I'll want to know what's going to happen with that. I'll want to know, and that's for me. And I think Kurt does that really well. I think that the characters become three-dimensional, and you want to you want to know what's going to happen. And the shows that I stick with are kind of are like that. That's what I would say. But I also agree. It's very hard to find things to watch.
Yeah, and you watch very highbrow stuff at night. So.
Oh God, he's gonna get on me now. I've
I'm not-
just started.
I didn't say.
I will confess, I had never watched reality TV. Oh my God. It is just like, I understand now why. I mean, I watched all of Love is Blind. I mean, all of it, everything. Anyway, and I won't get into the other ones, but
Yeah, please don't.
Katie, you should check out The Traitors.
the what?
The Traitors. The Traitors
What's that?
on Peacock.
What is that? Okay, what's that?
Fantastic reality show.
Oh
Watch
my
season 2,
gosh.
though.
Traitors as
Yeah, you'll
in
love it.
AI, like as in betraying. Or
Yeah, or
traitors
traitor-
as in.
How do you spell it?
Traitors, like you're a traitor.
You're a
Oh, I
traitor.
got it.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Wow,
Yep.
that sounds great.
It's good. It's like a live version game of Clue.
Thanks, Katie.
Well, I sort
You're
of
welcome.
blame the fact that there's just been an onslaught of not really great television on streamers after there were so many great things. I think reality is kind of maybe while it's, whatever. That's my opinion.
It's good because we don't
All right,
do
well-
that for a living, so that's great.
Kurt's got a great new show that's going to come on, and you're all going to want to watch it.
Yeah, it's a reality show.
It is not a reality show. This right here,
Yeah.
this could be a reality show.
This could be, yeah. Let me play
It's called
Shannon's
Love is
question.
Mute.
Love is mute.
Yeah.
What are you talking about? Oh, he's trying to be funny. Oh,
Love is quiet.
Love is quiet. Okay.
Hi, my name is Shannon, and I have a question regarding the crossover characters that you have from The Shield to Sons of Anarchy, with like Walter Goggins, Jay Carnes, Benito Martinez, Kenny Johnson, CCH Pounder. And my question is that when you were creating Sons of Anarchy, and you had those characters developing, did you have those actors and actresses in mind for those characters for Sons of Anarchy? Thanks.
Thank you. I would say that it's not crossover characters, meaning they didn't play the same characters, but they definitely used the same actors. I think some of it is the ensemble approach. And I'm not in any way, shape, or form comparing myself to these amazing directors like Altman and Mamet, but they tend to go back to the same actors again and again because they know they'll be able to get great performances. And I loved all those actors, and when I had the right roles for them, I reached out, and if they were available, I know I would get a great performance. So
I'm just remembering how great Jay Carnes was.
Oh, so good.
I completely forgot about that, and then when you said that name, I was like, oh my God, he was so great.
Yep.
They were all great.
And I knew it would be difficult to use Walton. I've told this story 1,000 times.
Walton was amazing.
It would be really hard to
was down.
use Walton or to use Chickless because those two characters were so much, they were so bigger than life on that show, and it would really be difficult not to see Vic Mackey and Shane Vandrell So the only making a joke, the only way I could use Walton was if I, put him in a dress, and ultimately that's what we did. And then at the very end, I loved being able to bring Chickless in for that little cameo that basically, brought it everything full circle. So, but I didn't really. It was never about creating them with. Or having them in mind. I never really had especially seasonal characters. I don't really create with a sense of an actor in mind. So I was just always, if I had the right role and they were available, I would always, I went to where the talent was.
Speaking of Walton, he just shared a really funny story yesterday on one of the late night shows. He was on the White Lotus and he got his hotel bill, his incidentals. It was like astronomical. And they're like, how many Thai cashew nuts did you eat? And he's like, oh, I thought I had like 5 or 6. He ate like 30 bags. He was like, I ate 30 bags of them. I just couldn't stop eating them. He had no idea. So we got to get him on pie.
So wait a minute. So he
we
actually
have to get him on
he
pie.
actually did eat that many, or
He
they
ate that
overcharged
many. He
him?
forgot.
Jesus.
He forgot. He was like, oh my God, I ate 30 Thai cat. He's like, they're really good, but man, are they expensive.
Well, it's very funny.
Very funny. All right, this is the last question. So it's from Mariana.
Hello, Kitty and Kurt. This is Mariana, and I am considered, I guess, a newer fan of Sons of Anarchy. I just recently finished the series, and I held off on watching it for so long because I always associated it as an old type of people show. And at 19, I was just really not interested in that.
Yep.
But I have seen the light of day, and I now understand the phenomenon that Sons of Anarchy was and continues to be. And so my question to you both is, how would you guys describe or even sell out the show to someone who is maybe as naive as me and maybe around the same age range as me and is holding off on watching the show for whichever reason? Thank you.
We're actually very young. just so you know. Well, or I'd say very immature. How's that?
I don't know. How would you sell that to
a younger person?
What are you, Gen?
Well, first
X?
of all,
No,
Charlie Hunnam.
Gen Y, Gen R, Gen K.
Yeah, if you're a teenager and you want to see a hot 27-year-old, that's how old Charlie was when he started.
Yeah,
I think that's a big appeal. And then I think, it's just really interesting family drama with lots of surprises and twists and turns. And
I get it, though. I think it's a show that ultimately, and one of the things that warms my cold heart is when I have like a father and daughter or a son and fathers, coming up and saying, this is the show we watched together.
Right.
So I think there is a certain association that it was a show that perhaps was not your dad's show, but like something that both generations could enjoy. And I think sometimes that might be, seem like something that maybe somebody of perhaps of a young age may be like, but I appreciate you taking the risk.
yes,
And that you dig it, and you should figure out how. I don't know
how to sell it to
how
teenagers.
to sell it to teenagers. I don't know, like, what if you were going up to one of your friends to tell them about the show, what is it that, Mariana, that you would say, and then let us know.
Yes, send another voicemail.
Yes, I'm putting it on you.
Thank you so much for listening. And if you have a question for us,
Any question?
well, we'll decide.
Well, okay. Or perhaps there's a limit to the question. But if you do, submit it to us at either inkbox@sutterinc.com or...
Just leave us a voicemail at speakpipe.com. Sorry,
Can
that's
you
the
say
first
that?
time I've said that.
Can you say that without a question?
Leave us a voicemail at speakpipe.com/ Pie Podcast.
That was a lot.
That's a lot.
I know.
How are they going to remember that?
Speakpipe.com/pie podcast. I think we got it.